Looking at hyperbolas and their key features, I'm hoping that you've gone and you've either played on Desmos.com or you've watched the tutorial just to kind of explore what the formula does and how the different aspects of the equation actually change how the graph looks. But to remind us, we know it's a hyperbola because we've got our x on bottom. Other things that we can remember is that the a value kind of tells us the bend of the hyperbola, how quickly it bends in. B is going to be our horizontal asymptote, and that tells us whether the graph has been shifted up or down. So this is your horizontal asymptote, and it tells us whether it's been shifted up or down. And C is going to be your vertical asymptote, and again that's telling you if the graph's been shifted to the left or to the right. And asymptotes, if you need a reminder, are actually kind of a straight line on the graph, not part of the graph, but a straight line that the graph approaches but never actually reaches. So if we look at these graphs and actually just try to visualize, what line do you notice that both of these approach but never get to? And if you look, that one gets awfully close to 3, but it never actually gets there. And if we can carry on to the other side, that one also gets awfully close to 3, but never gets there. So this one is going to be, or horizontal, because it's flat like the horizon. And the next thing that you can look for is the vertical one here. So you'll notice that down here it gets very close to being on the one line, but it doesn't get there. So this one is going to be our vertical asymptote. So you will be required to write the equations for the asymptote, and so it's really important that you can remember why and how to write them. If you struggle with writing an equation for vertical and horizontal lines, you just need to kind of memorize that the vertical is always x equals something, and the horizontal is always y equals something, and then figure out what actually plugs in there. But if you kind of look at this, look at the vertical one first. An important feature here is that along that vertical asymptote, anywhere along that dotted red line, the value of x is what? The value of x anywhere on there is 1. So that means it doesn't care what y is. Everywhere on that line, x will be equal to 1, and so that's why the vertical line is always going to be an x equals something. So in this case, the vertical asymptote, the equation for it would be x equals 1. Again, telling me that anywhere on that line, x is equal to 1. And I can see that right here as well. That tells me my vertical asymptote in the formula as well. So for the horizontal, similar idea. If you look at that, an important feature of that dotted red line here is that the value of y never changes. The value of y is always 3. So my equation here is going to be y is equal to 3. And I can see that as well from the formula here. The horizontal asymptote is going to be 3. So when you're trying to write these equations, just make sure you get it straight in your head that the vertical asymptote will always be an x equals something and horizontal will always be y equals something. Be aware that you can identify directly what that information is from your formula, but you can also look on the graph to figure out the information as well. So keep those in mind